I'm already someone else's. Oh. Oh no. Hello, all you lovely people. It's me, ElliXia Q Valentine, and you're watching another episode of ElliXia's Discography Dives, a series in which we dive into the discography of some of my favourite artists. Currently, the discography in question is Marina, formerly known as Marina and the Diamonds, but this time just known as Marina.
Hi, my name's
Marina. In this week's episode we are talking about her 2019 album and her first album in 4 years and her first album under the name Marina, Love and Fear, with 2 cover arts as well. And we also have it on vinyl as well. Today's look is inspired by the album's colour scheme. There's a lot of black and white, a lot of grayscale. I feel like I'm serving very much like silver, hippie, slightly disco-ish, but a bit older. You know that meme that's like the over-friendly white woman at every farmer's market starter pack? I feel very much like that right now. That's very much my energy. This is what ElliXia is going to look like in however many years. Well, global warming might say different. Anyway, on to the album at hand. Love and Fear was released on the 26th of April 2019. It was actually released in 2 parts. The Love side, if you will, being released digitally on the 4th of April, and then the Fear, half of it, completing the album in total, was released on the 26th. Of course, physically, it was released all in one go. There's no double disc or anything like that going on here. Love and Fear also reached number 5 in the UK albums chart as well, so it did, it did fairly well. It had a bit of a lukewarm reception from critics and I think from some fans as well. I have to say, straight up, this is probably my, well, no, probably actually. This is my least favourite album in Marina's discography thus far. But of course we'll get into that. Love and Fear was also later on accompanied by an acoustic EP as well, which was released in the September of that year. I don't believe there's a physical version of that. If there is, I don't have it. There is one strand of hair that keeps getting in my eye, and I can't get it. Love and Fear was Marina's first album release in 4 years, having taken an extended break from the music industry due to things like mental health and sort of just wanting to branch out a bit. To be honest, I can remember that time thinking that there's a possibility we may never actually have another Marina record again. Obviously that didn't happen, thank God. I can remember being very, very excited when this album first began to formulate, if you will. Unfortunately, after all that build-up and the lead-up to this album, the end result was a little bit of a disappointment, unfortunately. I want to start out by saying I do not think this is a bad album, by any means. I don't think it's a bad album. I just think it's not a very strong album. And in some places it's quite mediocre. There's nothing straight up bad. Just say that now. And there are some songs on this collection that I really, really like. Some that I would even go as far to say as I love, actually. But without further ado, let's dive in to the track listing. So side A of this album is Love. And that's 8 tracks. And it starts with Handmade Heaven, which was the album's lead single. Handmade Heaven, I actually adore that song. So we're off to a good start, at least. Handmade Heaven is really nice, very peaceful. It talks about like our connection to nature. Marina feeling envious of other creatures, like spiders and birds, who just know what they're doing in their life. They just get on and do it, whereas us humans, we're really complicated and we have to just, we invented council tax for some reason. And there's sort of like a bittersweet angle of Handmade Heaven as well, I think. There's a lot of pondering of our place in the world as human beings and within nature. And I was really pleased with Handmade Heaven. It was released actually on my birthday in 2019 as well, so that was really nice. Thanks, Marina. I know you did that for me. I relate to the first verse, I envy the spiders, because if I was a spider, I wouldn't be scared of them. But I'd probably be scared of humans, and that's probably worse. And I envy the birds. I envy Chanel. Chanel, the African grey parrot, that one. She flies away so much. I would love to just be as free as Chanel and just fly away to the canal sometimes. And have a Scouse lady shout after me. The dream. On to track 2, we have Superstar. Now this was the album's second single as well. Superstar is sort of okay. And that's a key word as well with this album, is okay. Superstar is nice, you know, it's a love letter to somebody who is her superstar. I love the way we work so hard, yeah, we've come so far. Baby, look at me, you're my superstar. Some of the lyrics are just a little bit simple, and it's just a bit like, I liked Superstar when I heard it. I didn't love it. I wasn't obsessed with it. I played Handmade Heaven a lot when it was new, but when Superstar came out, I was a lot more indifferent towards it. I still liked it. I still enjoyed listening to it, but it was never a song that I was obsessed with. And, you know, 2 years later, it's not really a song I ever think, oh, I really fancy listening to Superstar. It also commits the cardinal sin in pop music for me of rhyming heart with part, because I just find that really, it's just such a done rhyme. It's done so much, and I just kind of think, unless you're going to do it well, or do it in a sort of unique-ish way, then, I don't know, it's one of my pet peeves when it comes to music. On to track 3, we have Orange Trees, which was also a single in March 2019 as well. Orange Trees is actually a lovely song. Speaks about Marina's love for being in her home, being back in touch with nature and being back in touch with Greece as well. You know, lyrics about trying to get back to what we need. This is how it's meant to be, and it's nice. It's basically like a holiday song almost, you know, vacation. Getting away and enjoying nature and peace. And it is actually nice to just hear Marina be happy as well. This song is very understated, but it's a nice understated one. It's nice and peaceful. Also, it's a very nice one to listen to when you're walking around in nature as well. There are some gardens in my hometown of Malvern called the Rosemount Gardens, and one time I listened to Orange Trees. Coincidentally, listened to Orange Trees whilst I was walking through it, and I was like, this is actually really, really nice and really peaceful. So I'd recommend that experience if you ever visit Malvern. We don't have orange trees in Malvern, no, we're not that exotic. I mean, do we have orange trees in the UK? I don't think we do we? On to track 4, we have Baby, which is a collaboration with Clean Bandit and Louis Fonsi as well. Now, Baby was technically the first single from this album. It wasn't really the lead single, but it was the first song to be released from this collection, and it was released as a single back in November 2019, and it was Marina's first single in a long time, so I was very excited to hear this song. And it is a good song as well. It was just really nice to hear Marina on a song again. So Marina could have released a record of her screaming and I probably still would have been like, yes, queen, yes, you know. And Baby works really well because it's got that Clean Bandit sound. It's got Marina being Marina as well. It feels very much like Marina and Clean Bandit using their strengths and coming together really well. Problem with Baby, not so much the song itself. I just don't think it fits in with this album. It's track 4. The album version's no different to the single version that was released like 5 months earlier. And it feels just a little bit mismatched. Like, to have had it as like a bonus track at the end, where it's not a main part of the album, then I think fine. But to have it as track 4, and to have it as not a different version either, it is just the same as what we've already heard. It feels a bit like, well, you know, I don't quite get it myself. There is actually, on the vinyl version though, there is a solo version which is just Marina, and Louis Fonsi is not on it as well. Which is, you know, sort of neither here nor there. I think Louis Fonsi is fine on the song. But it is nice that at least this has a different version of the song on it. Am I just being pedantic? Do I expect too much? Am I reaching for the stars? Not really. Maybe I'm just complaining over nothing, but yeah. Baby did give Marina another top 20 single, and it also gave her a first release in a really long time, so it got her back on her feet, which is really good. On to track 5, which is Enjoy Your Life. Enjoy Your Life, for me, is another song that's kind of a bit like, I'm not really that keen. I think production-wise it is nice. It's got that, you know, standard Marina sound that's been updated. And it's nice to hear Marina singing from a more peaceful place and a more content place, because it sings about finding some clarity and, you know, you're not alone if you're struggling. It's a bit ironic because she sings your worst days, they are over, so enjoy your life. And this is, you know, less than a year later we were in a global pandemic, so the sentiment is nice, but it kind of feels a bit like the musical equivalent. You know, when someone says they're depressed or they're feeling sad and they're like, well, just go for a jog or do some yoga. Like, it's like, oh, yeah, okay, fine, I'll do that and I'll be magically happy again. Well, you know, have you ever tried not being sad? Like, yeah, great. And she's like, the lyric, your worst days, they are over. I'm like, you don't know that. You don't know that. And I'm not the kind of person who's gonna be like complacent about that as well. But that's just me. Yeah, and Enjoy Your Life is okay. It's a nice enough song to have on, but I wouldn't call it a masterpiece. Like, I think quite a lot of the fans really liked this song and were like hyping it up a bit, and I never got it myself, but there you go. On to track 6, we have True. True is quite a tempo actually. It's got a bit of a dance beat to it. I wouldn't call it. It's not like a club thumping song or anything like that, but it's got a light bit of dance to it. True is one of those self-help songs. Talks about being comfortable in your own skin, being true to yourself. It's okay, you know, there's self-help platitudes in songs. I don't mind them when they're sincere. And I do believe Marina is being sincere here, so it's alright. Again, it's just not really a song that I rush to listen to particularly. I don't find it particularly inspirational, even though I know it's meant to be. On to track 7, we have To Be Human. Now this was released kind of as a single when the first half of the album was released in April of 2019. I like To Be Human. I like the melody of it, I like the production of it. Something about it that I'm not keen on is, I can remember Marina said it was the most political song on this record. I wouldn't really say it's that political, but I still like the song and I think it is a nice song. I mean, there is some politics in there, you know, with the line about missiles and the bombs sound like symphonies gone wrong, and as well as the line about, you know, people driving fancy cars like the Beatles to the stars, meaning, you know, it's all meaningless basically. Compare it to Savage's, it's not exactly a truth bomb, is it, that she's dropping with this song? But I still enjoy it. For whatever reason as well, whenever I'm listening to the song, I always want to sing What If God Was One of Us over it. I don't know, I think it fits. And again, it's sort of existential, isn't it? So maybe it works. I don't know. Mashup idea. Free mashup idea, there you go. On to track 8, closing the love section of the album, we have End of the Earth. I actually love End of the Earth. I know I've been fairly critical thus far. I actually really like End of the Earth. I think it's a lovely song. I love the synthiness of it. I love the climax of the song. I think it's a really well done song, and it's got some lovely lyrics about being devoted to somebody, sort of no matter what happens, and, you know, till the apocalypse, which, think about that more every day. I think it is a really nicely done song. It's definitely the kind of song I could imagine somebody doing like a contemporary dance routine to, like maybe a contemporary dance duet or something. It very much gives me that vibe. So when the love side of the album was released in April of 2014 at the beginning, I really liked it. And these 8 tracks, you know, 4 of which we'd already heard actually, because they had been singles previously. So it was 4 new songs effectively. And I liked it, you know, because True and Enjoy Your Life, I might have been a bit more negative about those, but I liked them, and I think as an EP, this works well. I would still say remove Baby from the track listing because I don't think it needs to be there. But it's not as if it like sticks out like a completely sore thumb or, you know, ruins the album. It doesn't. And then we move on to track number 9 and side 2 of this album, the Fear side. Track 9, Believe in Love. Another song I actually really like from this album, definitely one of my favourites. It's understated, it's a ballad, it talks about needing to trust somebody and needing to believe in love and give it a chance, you know, to really trust someone and let go. And I understand that, it's really, really hard. And if you're somebody who's gone through what Marina describes on Electra Heart and Fruit at times, you know, you're gonna have some trust issues, aren't you? And I think Believe in Love is really done well. And when I saw the tour live actually as well for this album, she did it, the performance had like these, I think it had this couple doing like a contemporary ballet routine to it, and it worked really well. On to track 10, we have Life is Strange. Is philosophical and ponders, I guess, you know, a meaning of life and where we're all at different points, and sort of how like one shouldn't compare oneself with another person's journey. And even actually sort of in the instrumental of Life is Strange, there's a little bit of a Family Jewels-esque, very like sprinkling of Family Jewels-esque sound. I feel like you could do a remix of Life is Strange with like the Family Jewels instrumentation, and it would work really well. Life is Strange is one of those songs that talks about something important, such as, you know, I guess confidence in where your life is going and not comparing yourself to everyone else. I just don't think it does so in the best way. I don't think it does so in a bad way. It's not as effective as I think as it could be. We then have track 13, which is You. Now, You is my least favourite song on this album by a considerable country mile. It just sounds a bit bland. And it sounds very, very, very generic. And again, it rhymes heart with start, which I'm just like, It also rhymes start with R as well, and it's just a bit like, it feels, the songwriting just feels very generic and uninspired, you know, anybody could be singing this song. And that's the thing with Marina songs generally. Family Jewels, Electra Heart and Fruit, a lot of those songs, only she can pull off. Or maybe somebody else can pull them off, but like, only Marina can pull those songs off. Whereas, majority of the songs we have on Love and Fear, I feel like anybody could pull them off. You know, effectively, she's released another artist's best album, I guess, but you know, in doing this. Yeah, You, I think, is the worst offender. When I was listening to this album to sort of refresh my memory on it, I got to this point, I was a bit like, I'm a little bit bored now, to be honest. And that's, you know, that's not right. So sorry to any You fans out there, but it's probably my least favourite Marina song. Period. Always makes me laugh when white gays are like, period. Because it's just like, honey, you can't put that off. Period. On to track 14, we have Karma, which was actually a single as well, released in August of 2019, which is a bit of a random one, because it's on Spotify as a single, but the artwork is the same as the album artwork. I don't think there was a video, so I don't really know why it was a single, but it was a single. Karma to me is another one that kind of just misses the mark, unfortunately. It's got potential. There's like real potential in the song. I mean, there's some Marina-isms when she's like, oh my god, like in the chorus. And the song's subject matter is actually a good one as well, because the song was inspired by Harvey Weinstein and the Me Too movement. You know, so really that is a song that could make for really interesting listening and really like compelling listening and think, oh my god, you know. But Karma kind of just, if you didn't know that that's what it was about before you listened to it, you wouldn't be able to tell. It just sounds like she's thinking about somebody who's bad and is going to get their comeuppance. And again, it's to make the comparison to like Savages. Like, Fruit probably would have handled this subject with a lot more bite, and that's what's missing here. Thankfully, this kind of stuff was brought up again on Ancient Dreams in the Modern Land, which of course we discuss next week, and it's done much better, so. And on to track 15, no, am I on 15? Looking at the track listing, I just realised I made a mistake here. So, You is track 11, Karma is track 12, so we're now on to track 13. And thankfully we are ending my string of negativity with Emotional Machine, because I really like Emotional Machine. It's definitely one of the best songs we've got. Emotional Machine talks about being, well, emotionless, basically, and cut off from feelings when it comes to romance, and almost think being cut off from feelings to save yourself from getting hurt. Emotional Machine actually really does give me sort of stripped back Electra Heart vibes, and of course I really like that. Also goes to show that you can do the more understated sound of Love and Fear and still have that Marina essence from the previous albums that I feel overall has been lacking in this record. Emotional Machine also was produced, I believe, by Broods, and Georgia, the singer of Broods, has backing vocals, and sort of there's a bit of back and forth between her and Marina in the middle eight, which I really like. I would definitely be up for more Marina and Broods collaborations in the future as well. I think they work really well together in this instance. On to track 14, we have Too Afraid. I like Too Afraid, I think it's a nice track. It expresses the desire to leave wherever it is Marina currently is. I believe at this point she was living in London, I want to say. It expresses the desire to leave that behind, but also being afraid and well, scared to be able to do so, being very hesitant. There is that anxiety of like taking that leap of faith, and it is really hard. So I think Too Afraid is a good song because it captures that really well. I particularly like the lyric in Too Afraid about people on the tube sort of just not talking to anyone and just looking miserable all the time. Because sometimes when you are on the tube, it is really like that, isn't it? It's like, it's packed, but like no one is actually there. We're all somewhere else in our minds. Following off in Too Afraid, we have track 15, which is No More Suckers. I like No More Suckers as well. It addresses the bad people in Marina's life. It addresses friends who are maybe a little bit toxic and cling on a little bit, and maybe they only want to use you because you can give them something, and then once they've got that from you, they go away. I actually like the lyric, when you stay over, you eat up all my food, yeah, you mess up my towels. Towels is a word that should be used in pop songs more, I think. Of course, it uses the opportunity to get the word fuckers in there as well. Any song with fuckers in is good in my book. And on to the last track, which is track 16, we have Soft to Be Strong, which is a really lovely, sweet ballad, actually. It talks about being vulnerable and letting in that vulnerability. You know, sometimes you have to be soft to be strong. And I always believe that myself as well, you know. There is strength in weakness, effectively, because I think sometimes you have to let yourself feel weak and feel like crap. Because if you just go about your life pretending everything's fine all the time, eventually it's going to catch up with you, and it's going to manifest itself in a worse way. It's a nice closer on the album as well. When I saw the Love and Fear tour, she did this with a piano. This is one of the only songs she actually did with live instrumentation, because there were backing tracks used for almost every other song, and I have to say I was a bit disappointed by that. But with Soft to Be Strong, she did it on the piano, and even though she when I saw her, she messed up. And had to start the song again, but I liked that because it gave a bit of humanity to it, and it was a very nice, soft moment. And actually that sums up the album Love and Fear, or should I say albums, because it's supposed to be two. The thing with Love and Fear, the overall problem that I have with it is it feels very, very safe. Now, I understand it needs to play it safe as well, because it was Marina's first record in 4 years. I understand that she'd want to keep it safe when you're stepping into the ring, you know, for the first time in so long. Because 4 years in the world of pop music, that's a long time as well, and things can change a lot in that time. And obviously I am not a part of the music industry myself, so I don't know fully how it is, but I do understand that the music industry is very tough. So wanting to come back with a record that sounds like it's going to be effectively a surefire success, I do understand that approach. Love and Fear is Marina's most radio-friendly record, I would say, but that is also to a fault. What's missing with Love and Fear for me is that bite, that sassiness, that talking about sort of real issues, kind of no-nonsense vibe that the previous 3 albums gave us. Also, they're the creativity of the first 3 albums as well. They feel very distinctly Marina, and there are a couple of songs that do dabble in that, like I've mentioned on this album, and there are some very nice songs that don't dabble in that. It was a bit of a disappointment, unfortunately. I do really like the songs, well, some of the songs, and I liked it a lot of the time, you know, when it had that new album sheen, but unfortunately that sheen did sort of fade a little bit. With the previous 3 albums, when I was ranking my albums of the year, at the end of those years, they were all strong shows. I think like Family Jewels was in the top 10, Electra Heart was number 1, and Fruit was number 2. Love and Fear was number 23, so that kind of says everything really as to how I felt about that. However, thankfully, with Ancient Dreams in the Modern Land, that at the very least is a huge improvement. That is an album that really does have quintessential Marina written all over it. So I very much look forward to reviewing that with you all next week. And that sums up Love and Fear. To any Love and Fear fans watching this video, I do apologise if you don't like what I said, but it is my opinion, it's not fact. And if it's your favourite Marina album, then that's great. And with all that being said, I've been ElliXia Q Valentine. Thank you very much for tuning in with me this week. Don't forget to tune in next week when we'll be reviewing 2021's Ancient Dreams in a Modern Land. of which my physical copy actually still hasn't arrived yet. So let's just pretend that this is what this is. Let's, there we go. We can turn this inside out and we can just pretend that that is the new album cover. And hopefully my copy, which I ordered over a month ago, will arrive before I film the next video. Otherwise I will have to speak to a manager. Thank you very much for joining me. I've been ElliXia Q Valentine. Don't forget to stay safe and do all that good stuff, like, subscribe, etc, etc. Thank you very much for tuning in, and remember, please book me. Mwah.